Well folks, welcome back to the workshop. Another week, another bunch of broken machines. We're starting off with an old Makita one. There's an old Makita hammer and the customer says it might need a little bit of work. Yeah. What is going on here? Oh, right. It's just a broken handle actually. Looks worse than what it is. Might even have one of these in stock. Looks bad, but this mightn't be too bad. What is she anyway? 5,000? No, HR1200K. And he's obviously had a wee tinker at it himself. So we have to get this thing back together again. Bits and pieces all over the place on here. Even centipedes. Or millipedes. Right, I'm assuming the motor's alright in this. Don't know why he took the brushes out. He didn't need to take his cover off. Mind you, that one looks a bit discoloured. Wonder if the armature is alright. That's a sign that it got hot. Plus it's eating away back here. This one looks okay. So unless it's just that brush, maybe it wasn't making good enough contact. Suppose get it to run first. They're well worn out, so we'll just actually replace them. What is it, a 155? Now, the 153 and the 155 are basically the same brush, or just about the same brush. But I've only got one set of the 153s left. They cost about €8 plus the VAT. The actual 155s cost 19 plus the VAT. A little bit more expensive. But we'll just fit the correct one for this machine. Just file that as well. There was any debris or corrosion foiling up the brush. There could be more wrong with this than I know. I'm assuming it's just the handle it's left on for. Normally, the damage I guess is just on to fix the damage. Not normally running badly and then get broken. And then they want to just fix the broken bit. Customer would normally tell you if there's other things. But he just says he wants it fixed up again. I think that just means rebuilt. See if it actually runs or not. Well, it's not going to run with a broken wire. Stick that back on for a start. I'll just do a builder's fix for now. Jam it in an oil way just to get it to hold. That'll do. We just want to run it to see if it actually starts. Yeah, that's working. Just the handle. That lead looks okay as well. Now, let's see if they have a handle. In stock and not expensive. 182077/8. Costing about $21.50 plus the VAT. Old tool, old part, very easy to get. You would still go through a few of them. because obviously these things would get quite a bit of abuse, being thrown around the back of a van and whatnot. So you would get in the odd time still coming on with a broken handle. At that price, they're well worth replacing. Now the lead's okay, but it's still damaged down here, so I'll put on some proper connectors. A couple of wee bitless ferrules, or else wee eyelet connectors. And I'll also put on a new grommet too. Yeah, see, I'll put on a wee eyelet connector maybe. I'll just snip that off. Put onto a fresh bit of lead, just in case there's any damage further up. Normally when the lead goes onto the switch here, grommet's going to be back here, and there's where it's clamped. It's going to break somewhere along here or start to fail. So take about half a foot off, get rid of that bit. You know you're onto a bit of fresh cable. These are just a wee non-insulated eyelet connector. Better for these switches because they can fit into a tighter space. Work it a little bit neater. These wee pliers are also great for actually crimping them on. A great tight job. I also want to put a grommet on. I'll leave that for now, and we'll just get this handle started. Just going on here. The actual nut for the bolts are actually in place already, pressed in here. You don't have to change them over. This in place first, roughly, and we'll get the lead onto it. Also just change the little grommet here as well, little switch cover. These are actually a very good switch and give very little trouble compared to some other brands, or some other types even off the Makitas. Don't really rely on the dust cover all that much, but it is better to just stick it on if you have one available. That on, squeeze in your wiring, and then one screw holding it on, should be this one. Just make sure all the wires are clear and nothing's getting pinched. Squeeze in your grommet. That should be a tight fit. And your cable clamp. Seems like it was a big problem, but it's actually not that big a deal. Easy to fix, and not expensive. And well worth it for an older machine like this. And then lastly, I'll just blow this out. A wee bit of ball insulation for pumping cavities. I'll just blow that out with a compressor first. That's a bit better. Make sure the thing can actually breathe. And this metal cover, it's only a cover. Just make sure you line up the holes for the screws. You can give you a torch to move them if you put them on wrong like that. It's just for when it's getting thrown around, it's hitting the metal cover instead of the plastic motor housing. And that's it. One new plastic handle, switch cover, set of brushes and a grommet on an old Makita HR1200K. What year is she? 2003. So we're 22 years old. It's still running, no problem. Just give her a quick test to make sure she's still hammering correctly. Yep, that's her. All ready for another day's work. You can't beat the old tools for reliability. When you're going to get a modern machine where you're going to get 20 years of work out of it. Now, next up we have a wee Bosch trimmer router. And she's old and not from here. This is the Bosch 1608. And this is probably out of the States or Canada or somewhere. Yeah, don't know the year on it. She looks fairly old. She's a different plug on this thing as well. Now this man's also sent an adapter so I can actually run this thing. Don't see why he's even keeping this thing, because the adapter still needs to be 110 anyway. This is just a strip adapter basically, so you can plug more things in. But he still has to plug this into a 110 volt box behind here, just to cut off that plug like I normally do, and fit a 110 volt so you can just plug this directly into the transformer. But he doesn't want to do that, so I'll just have to do it this way. So let's see what she does. He thinks this might be just a set of brushes, so we'll see. Yeah, she's a little all over the place, so we mightn't be too far wrong. That's how old this is. Flathead screws. Take that off. And it's not the brushes. They're not worn out. And they are moving. That's a little bit warm, to be honest. Don't know. Might just be a couple of bearings in this actually. Brushes are alright anyway. What way does that come off? To get this bolt. Yeah. Take off the base and we'll pull this off. No way to lock the spindle on this thing. Must have a special tool or something. Take that out. Call it'll be okay. Have to get that nut out. Okay, it's not that tight. That out of there. And there's P-hitch screws in the bottom. Not handier than the flats. Pull them brush springs off. So the brushes aren't interfering. Yeah, there we go. That bearing's gone. Well, let's come out. Why is that so tight? A little gentle persuading maybe. We're going to have to tap it out just. Not so good. It's actually coming out with the whole sleeve. So the bearing's sitting inside a metal sleeve that sits up inside the housing here and it's just pressed on. But the bearing's coming out with the sleeve, not without. Well, we all keep going now and see what she's like. Just means now I'm going to have to take the brush holders off. So I keep going, that sleeve is going to snag in the brass brush holder and snap it. So we have to get them out of the way just. That's a good job we did too, because that bearing's not very good either. Right, so now we have to get that off the sleeve and get it off the armature. So over to the bearing press. And what's going to come off, the sleeve or the bearing? There we go. That's the sleeve. Put that back into the housing. Now for the bearing. Couldn't push it out far enough. There we go. Now before I fit this onto the armature, I'm going to press the bearing onto the sleeve, because there was a tight fit coming off and I don't want it to be a tight fit. Come back into the actual plastic body of the machine. It might be easier to press it on here now. Much better. Now this is a 627 bearing. Now with it like that, I can press it onto here. And this bearing press is in desperate need of a bit of work itself. It has an oil leak and it's getting worse. Must be a seal going up on here. Press that on to the circlip and we're good to go. Now that's one, and this will be number two. This is the most important one. This one's then it's actually becoming stiff. That last one was just beginning to go stiff. This one was the one that's causing the strain. Knock that out. Don't need to do much cleaning, this is actually good enough shape. And we'll get a new bearing in this. Yeah, you can see this one's all chewed up. That looks like a 6201. See, this will be a tight fit, so we'll use a bit of heat. Just enough till it starts to burn your finger, and then see if that'll drop on. No, might need to press. Quick press is all it needed, wasn't even all that tight. Well, not all that tight after I heated it up. And it's just these two flat screws. It's actually holding it on. They're just snagging or catching the outer wrists. Now, see if we can get this back in again now. You can see it's actually moulded into the housing. And there's actually a spring washer on this as well. So I'll have to sit on like that, or just drop it on like that. Drop this on top. This will be the awkward bit. And then press it on. Look at that. First time. Feels better already. That's a lot freer. It's amazing the difference a few fresh bearings can do. Even when the old ones don't sound bad, they can still be stiff. Much better. Now that insert I wouldn't say was meant to come out. It's still tight enough, it ain't moving in the housing, and the bearing's still tight inside of it, so it'll be alright, even though it did come out. That was the advantage of using the metal insert ones and not just relying on the plastic housing. They lasted a lot better and they could withstand a lot more. Now, that should be her. Ready to go again. This fella says he has a new one as well that he hasn't used, so he's not stuck. But I'd imagine he'd want this thing back because this will probably outlast the brand new one he got. Old tools generally do. A lot simpler, but a lot more reliable. Even has wee protectors, look on the housing for the brush holders. Wee covers, look. Don't see that anymore now in modern tools. I'd like to change that plug, but this man doesn't want it changed, so we're going to have to leave it on. Suppose when you're used to a setup, you want to stick to it. Now, what does she sound like now? Spot on. 2 bad bearings and she's up and running. Like I say, it's funny. That is completely gone, barely moving. But it was still quiet when it was running, so you wouldn't really think it was the bearings. That's her. Ready for more work. It's actually quite a nice wee machine and well made. Clearly built to last. The wee Bosch 1608 trimmer. Now, it wouldn't be a normal day without a little Instafix. Somebody's just dropped this in and asked if I can do a wee Instafix on it. See if we can solder this battery plate back onto the top. And this isn't a proper fix, this is just a wee quick Instafix to get a man out of a hole. I think it's for an automatic door or something like that. They're not 100% sure. I think he just wants it up and running until a new one arrives. Now he says it's still working if you push the battery in and hold it down. But this is making an electrical contact, but it's also just to hold on the button cell battery. So see what we can do here. It's not going to be a permanent fix because the actual legs for this have actually snapped off completely. They're down here. We might be able to do something. Pre-tighten this anyway. We'll get an extra dollop of solder on this and then just use solder then to hold it together. It has to go on this way to the battery slide in. I want to hold this in place. A little weak clamp should do the trick. One side. And this other side. Not perfect, but it'll do. At least till it gets a proper replacement. It's just the solder holding it, nothing else. That's my little good deed, an insta-fix done for today. That'll do the job. That's all I have. He didn't even give me the rest of it. So we'll take it, he has a battery for it and everything. I'll get him out of a hole anyway. That's one done. Now, this might be another simple fix. Running. And hammering. Problem is, the bit won't come out. And that's not going down far enough for a start. Right, see what we can do with this. Normally it's just a tool holder, either getting dirty or jammed up. Take off the cap. Yeah, look at the dirt down in there. Get the cap off, and there should be a little C-clip. Just there. Pop that off. I think dirt has something to do with it anyway. Yeah, it's not going to plunge down. And it's absolutely jammed packed with dirt and grease. I need to put a bit of grease under these, but to keep the chisel moving, to keep everything free, but keep putting on more and more, eventually it can build. Especially if it's getting covered in dirt and dust, then everything sticks to the grease and eventually starts to bind up. So yeah, that looks to be the problem. Right, wash these bits out, just clean them. Put a wee dab of grease onto here again. That should cure it. Now, that's a lot better. You put a bit of grease on your chisel, you only need a wee dab, pea-size amount. That's all you need. It's only every once in a while. You'd rather flood it and have this problem than have the tool holder actually going dry. Otherwise you're going to have to strip all this apart, take off the head, take off the actual tool holder, because the striker will become dry, get stuff and jam up. So instead of it being dry, you'd much rather get this here jammed up than the striker inside. A lot easier to fix this. So spring on this wee steel plate. This flat end holds on the actual ball, then your sleeve, and then your spring clip. Couldn't be easier to fix, or at least to reassemble. And your cap, and it works again. All it is the grease building up under here, the dirt and dust getting underneath, sticking. Eventually starts to build up and up and up until the sleeve just cannot go the whole way back. There's a pile of dirt jamming it from going back, so it'll only go back so far, not enough to release the bit. Clean it, bit of grease, now to get it sorted. Now this one is an old Makita drill, DHP 459. She must have seen plenty of work, 2013. But I think this one needs, I'm hoping, a chuck. Yeah, something wrong there. Right, drill's working, chuck's not, so new chuck needed. And we want to do quick fixes here, so I'm going to chance this with a quick fix. I'm going to get the hammer and Allen key out and see if I can knock this off first. And this one has the screw, so hopefully this will work. And the screw's actually already loose. So hopefully the chuck's already loose. Take that out. Allen key. You could be tightening that thing all day, it keeps slackening off again. Definitely gone. Hopefully this will work. Get yourself a big hammer and see if you can knock her off. There we go. Nice one. Just slap this on good and tight. Stick the screw back in. That's as quick and easy a fix as I'm going to get today. Much better. One Makita drill with the new chuck. Next up we have a Dewalt saw. This is the DCS 570. bit of a rattle out of it. Customer says it might be a bearing. It actually is a bearing. Not the thing, not the one you think. Bearing on the guard actually. See where the guard's vibrating when she's running. I think somebody might have been on this already. Meant to be a wee clip on there. No big deal though. This guard actually has a bearing on the top of it, because it's actually held onto the spindle. Not the best of systems, to be honest. Yeah, something's not right there. Look. He's got copper grease all over it, and the back of the bearing's open, so somebody's taking the seal out. So he's probably taking the seal out and put in copper grease to try and free it up. Problem with this, she's actually driven from this here spindle, or she's on the spindle. That's what's holding it on. Might be a little bit of play in there too. We'll just check that one. The problem with this guard, she's actually held on to the spindle of the saw. This is what's spinning, and that's the only thing holding this guard on. So the spring keeps it up. Whenever this is spinning, then it's actually a spin on this bearing. Gives you a nice smooth action. But the problem with it is, if she fails and the bearing sticks or breaks, it's going to just be in the lock position, the closed position all the time. You won't be able to use the saw because she's spinning this way. If this jams up, she's just going to try and lock the guard this way. It does also help with the spring to always keep it back again, but not the best of system. Especially since that bearing's now failed, we have to replace the whole guard. Normally you have to just replace the guard when you actually break it, not when a bearing fails. Check this one as well. Down on here is an actual needle bearing. That's not actually that bad, but that might have been collapsed. Needle bearing's okay, and this bearing's okay. So it's just the guard, hopefully. Just keep that on there to keep that all clean. Can't even replace this bearing. It's actually molded onto the plastic guard, or the plastic part of the guard. See, it's actually melted around here a little bit too. So the only way to actually fix this, or to replace the bearing, is replace the whole guard. Now I don't have a new one, but I do have a scrap one, second hand one. The bearing's fine in this, so we'll fit this instead. First of all, we'll just give us a wee clean out on here. Now, that's a bit neater. First off, your spring hooks on there. And this part of the spring here, the long pin, goes under the hole up here. Not this one, the bigger one. That's actually it. Nice and simple. Hopefully that's what the problem is now. That's not a bad bearing on the actual motor. Also got this here of the second hand one, a broken saw, so May as well replace it since we have it. Just be careful when you're putting on that wee clip. That's another reason why you should always put this wee clip back on again. Stops you making this mistake. This is not down far enough. The spring can sometimes get caught underneath the guard and the housing when you're putting it on. So the guard's sitting on top of it. You have to actually push it into the middle to get it to click down. Now it'll go on. That's it. If you don't click it down, it's not going to be seated properly, so just be careful of that. If you can't get that clip on, don't force it. Now, see what it sounds like now. Much better. That's it. One bad bearing on the return guard or the safety guard, causing vibration and the actual spindle. Replace that, cures the problem. But not the cheapest repairs. It's the DCS 570. I think that guard cost what, 40 or 45 euro. So it ain't cheap just to replace a bearing, but keeps it running for another while. Right, Makita cordless planer. This is the DKP 180. Not a kick out of her. Would it be this easy? Nah. Doesn't look like it's done enough work to actually go through a set of brushes anyway. It's not that. I guess is the controller. Maybe not. We'll just test this switch. Switch is working. So there's 3 contacts in this. So that's your start, and this is your brake. So that is working. Right, so these 2 leads actually just go back to the brush holders. So black's going over here. Oh yeah, so it's on the brake. So that's that one. Right, so they're okay. Contacts and the battery retainer are okay. It's not the brushes. They're making contact. Haven't done an awful lot of work either. Still have the wee chamfer unless he's changed these. But I would say he hasn't. It's not the brushes. I'm getting continuity back to here, so it's not the brush holder. The other thing inside of here is the stator, the field, which is a permanent magnet. It can't be that. So it has to be the controller. So we'll change this. So part number 620G74-3. And it'll be well worth changing because it's only costing what, €31 plus the VAT. And a little bit of labour onto that. That's the part. Should be a nice simple swap. No messing around, no crump connectors either. So what way have we? It's just the black and the red going to the switch, and the rest are just going to the battery terminal. Always test the wires as well, make sure you've got them actually clamped, just in case you're missing them. That out. You can leave the white wire, which would be the live. Pull out the black and the yellow. There's a little spring clip. How did I manage that? Pulled out the wire I needed and left the wire I didn't. So this one is nice to stay. It's no big deal. It's not hard to swap it again. So on the actual connectors, there's a little spring tab here, look. You have to push that back to release the little pin inside to get the spade connector off. Don't be just sitting yanking on it. I think it's stuck or something, you'll end up breaking the connector. Just push the wee pin in first and then pull it off. And that should be it. And that should be it. Or at least we hope. There's no guarantee till we actually switch it on. So you get your trigger first. The spring sits up on here. And a pin holds it on. And then you get your lock button then. pins over here and the spring sitting on this wee flat. Just make sure the springs go in on their flat end and not kinked over. And the same brushes are fine to reuse. They're a little bit worn, but nowhere near worn out. They're fitted badly as well, look. I wonder if somebody's already changed these brushes. They're meant to go on these two bits on the side, not on the top. Somebody probably just bent them to fit into the wrong position just to get them in. Still run, but it's awkward to get the brush cap back in again if you fit them wrong. So somebody just squeezed them in to fit into this here gap. But they're meant to go in the other way. These actually clip in, so they hold themselves in. It's meant to go in there and in this direction. Just makes putting them on or putting the caps on a little bit easier. Otherwise they're constantly trying to spring out on you. Now, see what that's like now. Much better. It's only a wee brushed machine that still should have plenty of power. So if you're overloading it and dogging it, trying to take too big a cut too quick, that extra power is going to suck in through the motor and pulling it out of the battery, and it's generally going to go through the controller first, overloading it and causing it to pop or melt the wires going to the controller or on the battery retainer. You'll know if you melt the battery retainer pins. So these three wee metal boys here, you can see the pins coming through. You'll see one of them actually, the plastic will melt onto it and you'll not be able to see the pin. But apart from that, not a bad wee machine and not too expensive to buy. Generally planing, you're only taking off a little slither at a time, so there should be plenty of power in a brush machine like this still. Anyway, that's it. One new controller fitted. Now, hopefully this one will be a wee quick diagnosis, quick repair, or quick I tell if it's not worth fixing. Wee Makita impact driver. This wouldn't be the most expensive model in the world. A DTD 156. 2020. Actually, it's working. No, I was going to say it might be the butt holder, but that's holding. Right, nothing to say what's wrong. She's working. She's going through the speeds. I thought this was a wee brushless machine, but maybe it's not. I think this is the very cheap and basic model. Crack her open and see if we can see inside. Normally chill the cheaper ones because they won't have the wee brush plate at the back of it, or bearing plate. It'll be just be one body. Lovely. Yeah, basic wee impactor. Older style switch in it. Might be more reliable actually than just a brushed motor. And that might be what the problem was. Brushes are well worn down. Maybe they're just worn out. That's a bit basic, isn't it? I think that just has to line itself up. Or do I have it on upside down? Nope, doesn't matter. It just sits on the top. It has to be located then onto this here. Right. Yeah. Brushes is definitely the problem. Can't be too bad a wee machine if it ran through the set of brushes anyway. Standard wee Makita brush ring. Little lip up on top for hooking your spring onto. Just makes changing the brushes that a little bit easier. Yeah, they're well worn out. Brushes are the standard ones for the Makita 18 volt range, CB440s. Quick and easy to change. Not expensive. Clips onto the side. And to try get all this back in. It's always the side of the mark up here where the field sits. Actually, that's not too bad. It's easy enough. Basic, but obviously does the job. It's ran for 4 years already, and it just needs a set of brushes. Gearbox doesn't want to go on. We might have to run it to get the gears to line up so the gearbox actually closes. It has to go on after because the housing, it goes over the top of the housing here, so I can't put the gearbox on and then close it. You have to close it and then slide the gearbox on. A little bit awkward, but it shouldn't be that big a deal. There we go. And say that stopped working for them and just sent it in. So always happens whenever it actually travels on then, been thrown around the back of a van. The brushes moved down a little bit and it runs for me. So I'd say it just stopped working for them, or it was running badly because the brushes were worn out. But that's her. Up and running again, sounding fine. Just one set of brushes. We Makita DTD156. And we've got a few other Makitas here now, so we'll go through some of these too. This is the older Makita drill, a DHP 453. This is the old DC motor. This thing here is basically the exact same tool as when it was an actual NiCad battery. Just modified now for the lithium. Not a great drill performance wise, but couldn't fault it for just being a donkey of a drill. Slow running, but the thing just never fails until it actually properly gives up. Like this one. Can't even tell the year in it. Might be the motor gone, or it could be a switch. And like the last wee thing, there's not much in them. And there's no repairing in the gearbox. That looks worn out. Well, actually there's still brushes on it. Should still run. Still free enough. Is it a switch or what? Yeah. Switch. It has a switch, yeah. Or maybe not. Maybe it does a motor. Price the motor up and see if we have it on stock. This one does look like it's done quite a bit of work. Right, have one in stock. That's only €36. Last price. So I'll go ahead of this one. 36 less, so a bit of a discount in that, but by the time you put labour and VAT back on, generally it takes up about the same amount, so I'd imagine it'll be about €40 or so to fit a new motor onto it. Clean that. Also clean this body out as well, and that. The only thing about these are soldered on, so you actually have to unsolder the joints and put them onto the new one. But it's not that big a deal. Plenty of heat on them first and try to get it so that the wires come out straight, because they normally bend the wire around. When it's bent around, it's hard to get it into the hole of the new one. Just give it a good bit of heat first and just straighten it and pull. Before we do anything, we'll just clean this thing out because it's a wee bit dirty inside. Actually, I'll not bother cleaning that out. I should have spotted this before I started. Handle's broken on it. Only one side, mind you. That's no good. So instead, I'm going to use a scrap one. This one had a gearbox and a motor problem. So get rid of that completely. I'll give this a clean out. I'll just use this one instead. Luckily these ones aren't as dirty anyway. They don't really need a wash. Quick blow and that'll do. And the leads are bent. It's hard to get them into that hole, so just try. Straighten them out if you can, just to make life easier. As well, I've done a collaboration with the online shop Toolmaster. Done that last week, but the promo code's still going. So if you want to get yourself 5% off, or you're getting anything from them, they're all different sort of stuff like kinetic custom hammers, velocity tool bags, all the tough bull gear. There are loads of different stuff, as well as Weehaw and Weira screwdrivers out there. So that's loads of good brands. The deal later on is still running, so you can still get a discount on it if you use the code Dean or Dean Doherty whenever you're at the checkout. Don't even think you have to use the link. I'll stick the link down the bottom in case you want to use it just for quickness. But you don't even have to use that, I don't think. Just a checkout, put in the discount code Dean, and I think you'll get 5% off. When it's there, you may as well use it. Leave it the same way as they had it, with the leads bent over. And that'll do. It's not pretty, but it'll do the job. There's the motor ready to go. Don't forget your little leaf spring. Just sits down in there. A lot of the time you just do this the first time, you'll find that lying on the bench. You'll not have a clue where it goes. That's just the wee detent for actually turn your clutch settings. That's the wee spring that actually locks it on. This here just slides together. Push it on, give it a twist. Everything else back into place. There's not much to them, so it ain't hard to rebuild. Nothing overly complicated about it. I'm just going to end up with a different serial number, but don't think you'll mind that much. As long as the handle of the drill is not about to snap off. You could also just buy a new body as well, actual clamshell, but that'll be another 10 or 15 euro. Look at that. Like a new machine. This has also had a new chuck fitted as well. And even with the new chuck, you can see where the work is done. Teeth are actually, the jaws are actually worn. But, seeing as I've got a new chuck, may as well get a new motor onto it, keep it running for a bit longer. That's her. That's the Makita DHP 453. That's how you fit a new DC motor onto it. That's her. Ready for more work. Next up we have the other cheap and cheerful Makita drill, the DHP 482. And again, this one, a wee bit older, 2021. Generally, these things are fairly cheap. This looks like it's got oil or something on it. Actually, not too bad a condition. They're a wee bit cheaper. Boys buy them and use them for all the wrong jobs. Just abuse it because they're cheap. And They burn out very easily. But if used right, they can actually last quite a bit of time. And the question is, what's wrong with this one? I see these coming from places doing manufacturing, and they just seem to last and last. Might be brushes. And you get other ones coming from tradespeople who just abuse them and they just burn them out. Cook the motor, destroy the gearbox. If you give them too many slaps and bangs, the whole spindle here, like this one, can start to become loose. It isn't too bad, but it is starting to become slack. It's not the end of the world. It's more whenever boys burn them out. But because they're actually built not too bad, they actually have a thermoset plastic brush holder, so even if they are given a bit of abuse, they don't melt the brush holder like most. This might just be a set of brushes as well. This is coming from a manufacturer. It's been used in a production line, I think. So it shouldn't be getting abused. It's just doing the same repetitive thing over and over and over again. When used within their limits, they do tend to last. It's the same brush as the last one, CB440s. Very easy to get going again when it's just this. I just wear through the brushes. The only time they're really not worth fixing. It's still worth fixing if you put an armature onto them, but sometimes these can be on special offers and deals. Buying a new body only can be just as cheap as putting an armature on. But if there's no deals, sometimes it's handier just to put an armature on, a new set of brushes. That's not too bad a price. But to replace the switch, it's costing like €60 or so. It's not really worth it. Look at that. One set of brushes for €8 plus the VAT. What'd be wrong with that? Chuck's starting to wear as well, but still working. That's it. Another Makita drill with an easy fix. Now, the last one for today, or for this week, a little oddball one. Don't know if you could really call this a repair or not, because I haven't really a way of testing it afterwards. A cow shearer, sheep shearing machine, obviously with the head and cutters removed. Boys left in this one because he says he needs a motor and he just needs it fitted, because he went out and got the motor himself. Now he just needs somebody to fit it. So I didn't actually supply this, I'm just sticking it on. Why is that stuff? She's free there, but there's a stuff spot on it. It's going to be bronze bush, so it shouldn't matter too much. Don't really like these machines. They're very overpriced for all these things are. They're a cordless set of shears for either shearing sheep, not so much sheep because it's fairly hard on them, but things like cows or horses or stuff like that, they're shearing animals. And I can't even test this because he never left a battery with it, but he's obviously been in it already. Now this is just a quick swap. Change this motor out for the new one. And I say there ain't much on these, I really do mean there's not much. The head is the most expensive part of all of them. This is just a quick wee handle and a motor and a wee basic switch. But these things can go easily for €300 or €400 sometimes. As a kit, you know, with the batteries and everything. And that's all she is inside. Basic little motor, basic little switch. Not much to that thing. Still looks good. Test the little switch. Now, the switch is working now. And it's getting power to the motor. Make sure it's going on both sides. Yeah, it's making the right circuit, but is it running? Quickly hook it up to a power supply, see what it does. Right, it is running, but it's sparking. So there is a problem with the motor. It's not getting full power. So he is right. A new motor needed. Luckily they're fairly simple to swap over. Just 2 leads. You have to desolder and resolder on again. As you can see on the inside of these, they're not fancy. Just a wee wire mesh for the vents. Literally just hot glued on or melted on. It's good that it's there, but they don't really show the price tag. These are expensive because they're a specialist tool. There's not a very high number of items sold. It's not like a standard cordless tool. Now these are sighted as well. So the black lead is going on to the plain side, and the red, or the blue lead, is going on to the red one. That's one. Get rid of the old one. Just clean that in case there's anything stuck to it. Now, that should allow her to run a lot freer. Have more power. This one was still working, but as you can see from the sparks, it's just on its way out. Would have ran, but it would have no torque. Wouldn't have been enough to actually move the blades. But I have the blades cut. I'll just give it a wee clean out. Seeing as it's on here as well. Looks like someone has already cleaned the head. Most of the bits is actually missing of this. He's removed the actual teeth and blades themselves. He's probably cleaned these all out and is missing a screw. Hopefully he has all that. The head's fine. It's just the body. Now that's it, a little bit cleaner. Not that it was all that dirty. I was going to say it's not that old and hasn't done an awful lot of work, but there isn't even a name or anything left on this thing. It's all worn off. So it must be old enough. Done a wee bit of work at least. I've seen some of these here come in so cheap. It is literally just a white body or a clear plastic body and the colour is just spray painted on. But this one seems to be a little bit better. And now this is going to be top and bottom too. That's it. Obviously this must be sitting on storage for a bit of time because there's a little bit of rust on the gear, on the armature. But for all the power this thing has, the amount of work it does, it's not really going to matter. It's not like you're going out shearing sheep with it. It's mainly just for dressing a show animal or something. And the wee slider just sits in there. Very simple basic tool, not much to them. And you sometimes wonder how they can have such a massive price tag. If you are getting one, if you're looking for them, make sure you're getting the one now with the lithium batteries. I think some places still sell the old NiCad ones. NiCad ones are next to no power anyway. Get the lithium ones if you are going to buy one. Just need to line up this wee battery contact. And that's it. Now I wish I had the rest of the parts of this to actually set it. Make sure the head's set correctly, but I ain't got. It's one of the main problems with these here shears, as people don't have the actual cutting heads set up right. They don't cut, so they just over tighten them to get them to cut. But then the extra resistance on the blades takes away all the power of the motor. They have to be just positioned just right. Get a bit of grease in there just to make sure there's stuff on that motor. And that's it. Now if you think a mixing drill for plaster comes in dirty, you want to see the way these things come in. You think a bit of plaster's bad, try getting these things uncovered in shite. Literally, cake and cow dung. That's how you normally get them. That's her. One set of shears. Hopefully up and run again. We'll get the leads on here now, see if we can just give it a quick test. Just get the power supply leads hooked up to the bottom. And that's her. Don't run it too long like that there without the head. It's making a lot of vibrations. But she is running. So that's her. Up and running again. Ready to shear another cow whenever he puts the rest of the parts back onto it. Not sure what the price of these motors are. Probably are still worth putting in because the units themselves, the kits with the battery, are quite expensive. Like I say, a few €100. So if you can buy a motor for 50 or even €100, it'd still be worth putting on. But anyway, that's it. That's all the power tools for this week, folks. Hope you enjoyed this wee tool repair-a-thon. If you're liking the repair videos, make sure you give us a wee like and a follow down below. Or if you want to help out the channel, you can hit the share button also, or become members too. Anyway folks, again, thanks for watching. Till next time, chat to you later.